A little before twilight, the rabbits began to emerge from their burrows. All day they'd been underground, snuggled together and sleeping. But now it was time to eat. The grass was sweetest. Some didn't venture far from the warren. These were the does with their young, the very old, and the timid. But so close to home, the eating was poor. The earth was largely trampled bare by the coming and going of generations of rabbits, and the fit and venturesome would wander further afield where the food was more abundant. At this time, the good places were behind the warren, up the slope towards the farmer's house, or down the slope, on the edge of the stream, around the briar bushes. It was there the outskirters lived, among the briars. The outskirters were the young bucks, without mates, without burrows, with little or no standing in the community. At best, they were tolerated. But if they were quick, they got the best food, the patch of dandelions, the occasional cowslip. The thing was to eat fast, in case one of the older rabbits came along, one of the fighters, perhaps a member of the guard.
You see these claws? Bigger than yours, eh? And sharper. That makes this cowslip mine, don't you think? So, Sonny, move away, right?
And the outskirter would move away, for that was the custom, the system under which the warren was run. One fine, quiet evening, our outskirter, by the name of Hazel, a solidly built yearling, was one of the first to reach the good feeding grounds. He darted out of the shelter of the bushes in a short run, stopped, sat erect, nose twitching, facing into the wind. Then he relaxed.
It's all right. You can come out. Fiver!
Coming. His companion is called Fiver because he was the last born of the litter and also the runt. As well as being small, he has wide, staring eyes, and in his head movement there is a suggestion of ceaseless, nervous tension.
Now, don't be so jumpy. Oh, here's some good grass. So eat it.
I told you. There's something wrong tonight. I can feel it.
Rubbish.
And I can smell it, too. Men have been in this field today.
Well, they're not here now. Do you think that bird would still be there if there was danger around? Besides, there's a gate over towards the road, and that's what the men sometimes do. They go in and out of gates, and... What is it? What's the matter with you?
Look. By the gate. What is that?
Men had been there that day. A post, its lower section covered with creosote, had been planted near the gateway. Around it lay a few cigarette ends, a partly eaten sandwich, 2 empty cool drink bottles, and a scattering of nails. This post supported a newly painted sign facing the road.
It's dripping blood.
It's... What?
There's blood running from it. Oh, look, it's spreading. It's spreading across the grass. Everything's turning red.
What are you saying? Where's the blood?
More and more of it. Up the side of the hill now. Soon it will reach the warren. All of Sandalford is going to be covered with it. Hazel, can't you see it?
No. And stop that, or you'll have me scared.
You really can't see the blood?
All I see is the setting sun. And that's where the red comes from.
No. Oh, no, it's coming from that wooden thing down there beside the gate. Today the men put a curse on us. We're in great danger.
Is this another one of your dreams? Another one of those visions? Is it, Fiver?
The blackbird's gone now. Soon it will be dark.
Fiver, don't do anything foolish. Imagine the panic if you started running around the warren telling everyone what you saw. Or what you think you saw.
I know what I saw.
But blood and curses, Fiver, and things like that. You know what the old rabbits will do, don't you? They'll laugh at you.
But this danger, it's here, all around us. And it won't go away. I know it. We have to do something, don't we?
Think about it. Wait a while. Fiver, it could have been the sunset. Couldn't it?
It was blood.
Slowly, all color drained from the western sky and the land. The shadows took over. But for a long time, it still was possible to read the message on the signboard in black letters on white. It said, "This ideally situated estate, Sandalford, comprising 6 acres of excellent building land, is to be developed with high-class modern residences by Such and Martin Limited of Newbury, Berkshire."
Fiver, wake up!
Hazel,
Stop trembling. I'm here. You're all right. Another dream? A sleeping time dream?
It was terrible. You and I, we were going down a stream. Not in the water, but on it.
On it?
We were floating on a big white board, like the one we saw by the gate. But when I looked down again, it wasn't wood we were on. It was bones. White bones. And they were held together with wire. Thin, shiny wire. The kind the men use when they make snares. The snares they try to catch us with.
Well, now, that's nonsense, isn't it? You see? Some dreams are nonsense. Now go back to sleep.
No. It's made my mind up. It means I have to tell the Chief Rabbit.
Chief Rabbit?
I have to tell him about the danger.
You couldn't get near the Chief Rabbit. I haven't even seen him in my whole life.
I have to see him now.
Oh, Fiver, you must be crazy.
Will you come with me?
Oh, we won't even get past the guards, Fiver. Besides, the main warren's up there, across open country. It's broad daylight, and the Chief Rabbit's probably having his moontime sleep.
Hazel, that blood meant death. Don't you see? I have to warn them, give them a chance. Well, you coming?
Oh, all right. But you know what'll happen, don't you? You and I, we're going to end up under guard in some poky little burrow at the back of nowhere for the rest of our lives. That's what's going to happen to us.
The Chief Rabbit's burrow was the longest in the warren, and its entrance hole was the largest. Just inside, the 2 outskirters ran into the first guard, a young but hefty rabbit who was, in fact, the chief's nephew. There had been a fair amount of muttering when he'd been given a post with the guards. Favoritism is an ugly word, even among rabbits.
Hello, Silver.
What are you two doing here? Are you out of your minds?
We have to see the Chief Rabbit, Silver.
But you can't go down there. Nobody goes down there unless he's sent for.
It is important, Silver.
We have a message for your uncle, and it's terribly important, so please don't try to stop us.
But my orders are not to let anyone pass.
Ah, come on, Silver. The Chief wouldn't get cross with you, would he?
Now, Hazel, don't you start. All right.
Thank you.
Anyway, Captain Bigwig's down there.
Bigwig?
The one with the fuzzy topknot?
Yes. Let's see if he'll let you past. You go right to the far end. You'll see a lot of oak tree roots.
Thanks, Silver.
The earth walls of the tunnel had been brushed smooth by hundreds, thousands of soft bodies over the years. The floor had been padded hard by as many sets of paws. This burrow was an ancient one, even more ancient than its owner.
These roots are bigger. Would they belong to an oak tree?
They could. I think we're nearly there.
Halt! Who is that?
It's me, Captain Bigwig. Hazel, my name is.
Hazel? In here? And at this time of the day?
We want to see the Chief Rabbit. It's very important. Will you help us?
We? Is he going to?
Fiver? Yes, he must. Please trust me, Bigwig, when I say it's important. I've never asked to see the Chief Rabbit before, have I?
But you know what he's like. He may be the father of his people and protected them by luring a stoat among some pheasants where a gamekeeper shot it. But he's a cold one, too. Remember the time of the White Plague?
The plague that made rabbits go blind? That was years ago.
We weren't born then.
Oh, proper nasty business. Spread from one warren to another, it did. Well, the chief used to prowl these burrows night and day, looking for the first signs of sickness, red eyes or a running nose. And if you were sick, he'd call the guard and you'd be kicked out of the warren. You could be very old or very young, it wouldn't matter to him. Out you'd go. Out into the cruel, cold world you'd go. And of course, the 1,000 would be waiting for you.
The 1,000 enemies?
Some of them. Foxes, dogs, stoats, enemies like that. Oh, they had a lovely time.
But the rabbits would be too sick to run.
Run? Where could they run? They couldn't even see.
Horrible.
Of course. The old one said he was only doing his duty. Had to protect the rest of the warren like. But, I saw him once. Squatting up there near the entrance, watching the dogs picking up some of our rabbits. I saw his face. And you know something? I could swear he was enjoying it.
Enjoying it?
Maybe he was just protecting his people. Maybe. Or maybe he was saying to himself, by frith, now this is what I call power. Now, do you still want to see him?
Yes. Yes. We have to.
Oh, very well. I'll do it for you, Hazel, because I know you wouldn't be involved in any foolery. Although I'll probably get my head bitten off for my trouble.
Bigwig went on a little further and stopped at the entrance to the old chief's private burrow, and, after speaking a few words, was called inside. The 2 young rabbits were unable to hear what was being said and waited in silence. Then Bigwig reappeared, nodded to them curtly to go in, and returned to his post at the head of the burrow. Hazel and Fiver moved forward hesitantly. Once inside the chief's quarters, they saw that the old rabbit had not quite roused himself out of the midday sleep, but he was polite enough when he spoke.
Ah, our 2 young visitors. Please do come in. Now, which one of you is Walnut?
Walnut? My name's Hazel.
Hazel. Of course. How good of you to come. I knew your mother well. Now, what brings you to see me?
It's because of Fiver here, sir. He can often tell when there's anything bad about, and he's been right time and time again. He knew about the flood last autumn, and now he feels there's a bad danger coming to the warren.
A bad danger? I see. What a pity. Now, Fiver, what sort of danger would it be?
I don't know. But it's bad. It's so bad that it's very bad.
That doesn't give us much to go on, does it? Here, have some lettuce.
Rabbits often eat together just to be sociable or to cover an awkward moment while they come to a decision. The chief chewed thoughtfully on a few leaves as Hazel nibbled politely at a small one. Fiver ate nothing and sat blinking and twitching miserably. It was a relief to the 2 young bucks when their chief eventually spoke.
This danger now. What do you think we ought to do about it?
My brother thinks we should leave here, sir. All of us run away.
Run away? Leave the ancestral warren? Isn't that rather drastic? Leave Sandalfoot and go traipsing all over the countryside? I take it this was one of your dreams.
Yes, sir. They just... well, come to me, sir.
And you want me to tell my people to abandon their burrows, to flee for their lives, simply because one little rabbit had a dream?
They take it from you.
That's very nice of you. Perhaps they would. Perhaps they would. But I should have to consider it very carefully.
But, sir, there's no time. I can feel the danger like a wire around my neck. Hazel, help!
Your friend seems in some distress, Walnut. Perhaps he ought to go home and rest. Yes, I think you'd better take him along now. It's been good of you to come and see me, and I appreciate it.
He won't listen to me. He won't even listen.
Come on, Fiver.
But wait.
Bigwig, where are you?
Fiver, listen to me.
Please, shut up and just keep moving.
Work it no more.
Keep quiet and keep moving.
Bigwig, come in here. Captain, I'd like a word with you.
do now? We can't stay here.
I'm not sure. I think we should tell as many of the others as we can.
I don't think many will listen to us. Just a couple of outskirters.
But we'll have given them the warning. I think we ought to do that. At least give them a chance. Look, we'll tell them if they're interested to meet us up at moonrise, up at the edge of the wood. Then we can decide what to do.
Almost without exception, the creatures of the wild think of themselves as part of a group. Rarely do you see a lone bird in flight or a single crab in a rock pool, and never do you find a solitary rabbit anywhere. But in the warren, there were these two groups: the older, privileged rabbits, with rights to a corner in a burrow, who could claim a doe whenever they felt like it. In return, they had to conform, stick to the rules as set down by the chief, rules which he himself had inherited. In the second group, you had the younger males, the outskirters, the so far unaccepted, and they had to manage as best they could. It's not surprising that these youngsters were the only ones who'd listened to Hazel and Fiver.
And so that's what we'll have to do. Run away.
But where, Hazel? Where could we go?
Go out into the world, Pipkin.
Oh, but this place is all we've ever known. This bush and those brambles, the brook back there behind us, the field across as far as the fence. We've never wandered. No rabbit can afford to. Not if he wants to live.
Yet we'll die if we stay here. Ask Fiver.
Hazel, did you see that blood?
Yes, Hazel. Did you?
No. But then he's the one who has the visions, not I.
And you have that much faith in Fiver?
I do. We're leaving Sandalford tonight. Well, who's coming with us? Anybody?
Personally, and no offense, Fiver, I don't know that I put much trust in dreams.
Please yourself. We're here to warn you, not to persuade you.
No, let me finish. But I do have faith in you, Hazel. Don't ask me why, but I do.
Then you'll join us.
Well, why not? There's nothing for us here. Yes, I'll come with you. We'll see the world together.
Good. That's Dandelion. Now, who else?
I'm scared to go, and yet I'm too scared to stay.
Well, in that case, young Pipkin, you'll be better off with us. Eh, Hazel?
Wait.
Listen, somebody's coming.
Captain Bigwig. And Sergeant Silver. Why are you here?
They're on their way. Major Holly and some of the guards. You better run for it.
But why? What have we done?
You young idiots, start running, all of you. Tell your friends.
Yeah, it's too late. Look, they're here already.
You're all under arrest.
Under arrest?
Under arrest. So behave yourselves.
And what is the charge, Major?
For spreading dissension and inciting to mutiny. And now, I'd say, for holding a meeting without official permission. Round them up. And you, Captain, and you, Sergeant, I'm placing you under arrest too. Now get moving. Get them all together. Hey, you, jump to it.
They're
Come
beat
on
those
now.
guards.
Come on.
But you're right. There's more of us. But you have any fighters in this lot?
Look lively.
Not
Jump
many,
to
but
it.
maybe enough.
Earth knows what they'll do to us if they arrest us. I know the chief.
Oh, we all know the chief. I say we fight.
So do I.
Good. Then get ready.
We're not going with you, Major.
What? What did he say?
I said we're not going with you. Dandelion, Buckthorn, Hawkbit, all of you. Don't let them do it. Turn on, fight for
They're
yourselves.
mad. You can't do this.
You've got legs, then kick. You've got claws, then scratch. And you've got teeth.
You're under arrest.
The fight was short and in its own way brutal. Then, abruptly, it was over. Bigwig had disappeared, so had Silver, nor was there one outskirter in sight. Only the trees and the shadows, black shapes in the moonlight. There wasn't a sound, and nothing moved. Rabbits have only two ways of getting anywhere. They have, for peaceful summer nights, shall we say, not too far from the burrow, the gentle lolloping forward movement. It looks casual and almost aimless. The alternative is for moments of panic. It's the terrified, lightning zigzag dash for safety. For them, there's nothing in between. In short, no rabbit could go for a stroll, no rabbit could sustain a long day's march.
Hazel, can't we stop soon?
Very soon, Pipkin.
I don't like walking through trees. There's not enough grass in case you have to hide, is there?
There are bushes. There's bracken. We'd find somewhere if we had to. We are going too fast for you, aren't we?
Oh, some of us aren't as big as you are. I'm not, and Fiver's not.
That's true. I'm sorry. Captain, I think we'll take a rest. Try and get some sleep.
Yeah? Well, is this far enough from the warren, do you reckon?
We're farther from the warren than any Sandalford rabbit's ever been.
Are we? True?
Yes, young Pipkin. We've just made history. All right, everybody, gather round. Now, we'll rest here. And keep together, understand? No roaming about.
Well, I don't think you have to tell them that.
Some squatted, some flopped onto their sides. A few had wounds that needed licking, but nobody had much to say. Trembling, they listened to the unfamiliar sounds of a forest at night. The stirring of nesting birds above them. The flapping wings of an owl on the hunt. There was some other hunting creature, too, that broke through the bushes some distance off. They heard it pounce and the squealing that followed, and they knew, as Hazel had said, that they were out in the world. So Hazel asked Dandelion to tell them a story. Here's how it went.
In the beginning, Frith, the Lord God of all the rabbits, made the world and the stars. He made them by scattering his droppings across the skies, and the world was wonderful, rich with grass to eat and bushes for shelter. Lord Frith made the animals also, and the birds and the fishes.
All those creatures were friends then, weren't they?
Oh, the best of friends. But there was one animal, a rabbit, the prince of the rabbits, whose name was Elarera, who incurred the wrath of God.
Well, what does that mean?
He got on his nerves. So, Lord Frith sent for him. He was very cross indeed. Elarera had far too many wives, and the wives had so many young that even Frith could not count them. And they ate the grass, and the dandelions, and the lettuce.
Dandelion's story was well known to the rabbits. It was told on winter nights when the cold draught moved down the warren, and on summer evenings when they were lying in the long grass at their ease. It was the story of the blessing of Elarera, and rabbits of all ages loved to hear it. The outskirters listened attentively, not just because Dandelion was a good storyteller, but also because they remembered how they had heard it so often in the security of the warren. It began with Frith's anger at Elarera for his refusal to limit his wives and offspring, and the cheeky reply by the rabbit prince that he was simply showing Lord Frith how much he enjoyed his gifts. Frith then decided to teach him a lesson, and he called all the animals together, telling them he would give everyone a gift to make each creature different from the next. But Elarera was dancing and mating and boasting about his gift so much that he was late in setting out for the meeting. He was on his way when a swift came flying past.
News!
What news?
Not good news for you, Elarera. Frith has given the fox and the weasel cunning hearts and sharp teeth, and to the cat he has given silent feet and eyes that can see in the dark, and they are coming away from Frith full of nothing but hunger to kill the rabbits.
On hearing this, Elarera grew afraid, and when he heard Frith calling him, thinking the fox and the weasel were coming too, he began to dig. But he had not dug far when Frith came all alone to see Elarera's bottom sticking out of the hole and earth flying out in showers. And Dandelion's audience, even though they knew the story, were listening as if they were hearing it for the first time.
Well, there he was, the prince of the rabbits, halfway into the side of a hill and knowing full well he hadn't the courage to face up to Frith. He'd been late for the meeting. He'd just told a lie. Several of his does were about to have more babies. I wonder, my lord, he said, I am rather busy. I wonder if you could bless the part that's there, the part you can see? This time, Lord Frith was amused. Your bottom, he said. My bottom, Lord, if that could be done. Thank you.
And that's what he did? All the blessings at the back?
At the back. He got a little white tail, one that couldn't possibly get hooked in the bushes when enemies were chasing him, long back legs to add to his speed, to help him dodge when he had to.
That's right, isn't it? Our front legs don't amount to much, but if there's one thing we're good at, It's running away. I wonder if there's anything in all the world, if there's anything that's frightened of us. But there wouldn't be, would there? Nothing. Nothing anywhere.
They've spent the night, these rabbits, in a forest they've never seen before, unable to go underground, unable to feed. Bracken fern is fine for hiding in, but who can eat it? And a long, long night it's been. For a start, it was strange being surrounded by so many trees. Then there were the smells of damp leaves and the mustiness of moss, of mildew and decay. You didn't get those smells back at the old warren. The earth around Sandalford was more open, more exposed to the sky. They'd all heard funny noises, too. The restlessness of birds roosting in the branches above them. Sometimes a tree would groan, and a small branch would fall, clump, to the ground, and those birds would twitter their objections, would complain about being awakened. But most frightening of all were the rustlings, the sinister sounds of the hunters, the night hunters moving through the undergrowth. Lord Frith alone knew what kind of creatures they were, but they too would be hungry. But now at last, there is daylight.
Hazel, where are you?
I'm here. Come on, there's room. How are you? Did you get some sleep?
Some. Not much. It was Pipkin. His foot was bleeding during the night.
Young Pipkin. Still bleeding after the fight with the guards.
We've been taking turns at licking it. Pipkin? Pipkin, over here. Show Hazel your foot.
Oh, it's nothing.
But you're limping, Pipkin. You're limping badly.
It'll get better. Truly it will. We'll make it get better, won't we, Fiver? Lots and lots of lick. That'll do it.
Because once we leave here, once we leave these trees, you'll have to keep up with the rest of us. You know that. And anything could be out there, Pipkin.
I know. I do know, Hazel.
Just us. 11 runaway rabbits against 1,000. Us against the whole world.
Tell him, Fiver. Fiver's had another one of those dreams.
You have? And what was it this time? Not more blood, no more disasters.
I saw the place. In this dream, I saw the place we're looking for. It was beautiful, Hazel. Oh, really beautiful. There was high country, and it was thick with grass. The soil was soft and dry, good for digging burrows. And we'll be safe when we get there. You can see everything for miles, right across to some hills against the clouds. Nobody could ever take us by surprise.
But where? Where is this place? How far away? When do we find it?
I don't know. But I do know something. We have to cross water to get to it.
Cross water?
How does a rabbit do that? Cross water?
There'll be a way. There has to be a way. When the time comes, something's happening.
Quiet, you lot. What's the matter with you?
What is it, Bigwig?
Listen.
But what makes a noise like that?
A dog, Dandelion, that's what. A dog dragging his chain. Oh, can't you get a whiff of him? Fritz almighty, don't any of you idiots know the stink of a dog by this time? Hawkbait, keep down.
That's the nearest I've ever been to a dog.
Then you're lucky.
Anyway, that old doggy's gone now.
And who says he won't be back? I'm not staying here.
Bigwig turned and broke into a run. In a flash, the other rabbits followed, bounding through the ferns onto a track between the trees. Hazel and Fiver did their best to help Pipkin, and so were the last to see the stream. They found the other rabbits staring at it in horror.
Well, Hazel, now what do we do?
This is it, Fiver. That water you saw?
I know, but keep quiet. I'm starting to think they've had enough of me and my dreams.
Ask me. We better all go back.
No. We have to cross it.
Cross it? Why?
Because I just know we do, that's all. Besides, the dog's on this side. So how can we go back?
Well, none of us can jump that far, but I suppose we could try to. Do rabbits swim, by the way, Hazel?
Anything can swim, if it has to. All it needs is a good enough reason.
Wait. Ah, yes. And here, if I'm not mistaken, comes a perfectly good reason. Look, everybody. Turn around.
Holy frisk!
It's the dog!
The water was cold, and the stream, after the spring rains, was running swiftly. Pipkin clung to a piece of wood which Dandelion and Hazel had found for him. They had, in their own way, just invented the raft. It tried to spin in the current, but they kept close to it, nudging it along. They swam awkwardly, heads tilted high out of the water, and yet they were swimming. Each rabbit in turn was learning that it could be done. They reached the other side, hauled Pipkin from the stream, and the piece of wood floated away, headed towards the unknown.
Well, everybody, we did it, didn't we? We got to the other side. Every one of us.
They're a long way from home, don't forget. Just look at them, Hazel. They don't know where they are. They don't know what's ahead of them. Even Bigwig looks scared.
And they're blaming me. Is that it?
Well, give them time, Hazel. You must give them time.
They sat with the others, shaking themselves and licking their fur, their paws. Then Hazel realized that all around him was staring back across the stream, not speaking, simply staring. He faced the same way and knew what they were thinking. Not only was there that forest, dark and terrifying, not only was there that half-crazy dog between themselves and the old life, the life they were familiar with, now there was all that water as well. He jumped to his feet, made a grand show of leaping up the slope. At the top, he shouted,
Who's hungry? Then it's here. Lots of good grass.
Who's hungry, he says, when we haven't eaten since we left Sandalford.
And that was yesterday.
Yesterday? Is that all?
On the gently undulating meadow above, there was grass, thick grass, full of juice, and they set to nibbling, hopping a few yards, then nibbling again, making up for the hours of hunger, forgetting that a moment before they'd been afraid of this new world they'd wandered into. And so they came to the patch of beans that smelt pleasantly free of any hunting animals, and with thick leaves offering security and shelter.
Marvelous, Bigwig, wouldn't you say?
You can't eat those bushes, you know.
Well, who wants to eat them? We had our fill of grass down there. I know I did.
What we want now, the dear Lord only knows, is somewhere to sleep. Oh, last night, among the trees, was hopeless. But here we'll be safe. So find yourselves somewhere to stretch out, everybody. Get a nice soft spot and... Fiver?
Where's Pipkin?
The two youngsters. Has anyone seen them?
That Pipkin, he was lagging behind a bit back there.
The crow had caught sight of Pipkin and Fiver some distance from the bean patch. Small ones, creatures that size he could manage. He circled once, then came in low across the grass. He landed danced towards them, stabbed with his beak at Pipkin.
They go for your eyes, Pipkin. Keep your head down and run. Pipkin, run! What's the matter with you?
Rabbits have a word for the ultimate in fear. Tharn, they call it. Tharn, paralysis of the body and the will to escape. It's an acceptance of yourself as the victim, an acceptance of death. It's the ugliest word they know.
It's Tharn, Pipkin. Don't let happen to you. Hazel, where are you?
Hazel bounded down the slope. The crow turned on him. Then Bigwig lunged from one side, dodged the darting beak, sharp as a dagger and as dangerous, hurled his full weight against the body of the crow. And it staggered. By now Silver was on the scene, and once more the bird swung around. That was when Bigwig kicked it, a massive kick that sent it spinning onto the grass. The crow had enough. It made off with a slow, heavy beat of wings over the meadow, over the stream, heading for the woods.
Oh, thanks, Bigwig. Thanks, Sergeant Silver. He was a big one, wasn't he?
Those rotten, dirty, cowardly creatures. I'd kill a lot of them if I could. Well, I'm going back to sleep. Coming, Sergeant? A bit more shut-eye. That's what I'm needing right now.
We'll be there in a moment. Pipkin.
He had Tharn.
He did.
That's what it must have been. But you didn't die, did you, Pipkin?
No. It didn't happen, did it? Poor old Pipkin. You're having quite a day, aren't you? I'm sorry, Hazel. I've been a nuisance again, haven't I? A nuisance? Why, yes, Pipkin, I suppose you have in a way. But I'm sorry too, Pipkin. This time, I'll wait for you. This time, I'll see that you two young bucks do keep up with us.
They slept between the rows of beans until the sun was almost gone. All but Hazel, that is. He looked around at his friends, his fellow fugitives, and he loved every one of them. The very brave ones like Bigwig and Silver, the sometimes cynical Dandelion, who told such marvelous stories and seemed to enjoy himself wherever he was. The other rabbits, who didn't do much, didn't say much, would always be needing someone to tell them what to do next, where to go. He found he had a very special love for them, and this surprised him. But there it was. He couldn't help it. Hazel yawned and stretched his legs. He watched Pipkin twitching in his sleep, still seeing that crow, no doubt. But he'd forget it in time. He was young. And last, there was Fiver, his own small brother Fiver, who saw things that no other rabbit could see, who'd had a vision of the land they were all looking for. But would they ever get there? How long could their luck hold out? He was tempted to stay in the bean patch for a while. It would give Pipkin's leg a chance to heal, for one thing.
What was that? Keep quiet. Keep still, you lot. Stay where you are and shut up.
It's a man. Of course it's a man. But what's he killed? Oh, I hope it... That horrible crow. So do I.
No such luck. Crows are too cunning, too clever.
More clever than a man? More cunning?
Some of them are, I believe.
Why don't we get out of this? Why don't we start running?
Who said that?
Oh, me, Captain Hawkbit.
I might have known. Now, don't be so stupid. We're safer here. That man can't see us where we are. He can't even pick up our scent. Never in a million years. That's the only thing I like about them. They're not too clever with their noses.
Sure of that, Captain?
I am.
Oh, well, I might as well go back to sleep again, eh?
And you know, that's exactly what Hawkbit will do.
If he does, he'll be the only one of us, I bet.
Did you get some sleep, Hazel?
Why, yes, I'm fine, thanks.
With the sound of the gunshots, Hazel's mind had been made up. They had to move on. They remained among the beans until the moon appeared over the hills. Then they continued their journey through the night. They'd scamper fast across the open spaces, rest whenever they came to shadows, do some hurried nibbling if there was some grass around. This gave them time to get their breath back, time for the heart to stop thumping. But never did they take their eyes off either Hazel or the captain, the moment one of these made a dash for the next clump of bushes or off again, white tails bobbing in the moonlight. On one of these pauses, Hazel examined Pipkin's foot.
How is it behaving? Does it hurt much?
No. When I'm running, I don't even feel it. Truly.
At least it stopped bleeding. But lick it every chance you get. You hear?
But I do, Hazel. Honestly, What's the matter with Fiver?
Fiver, keep down.
There's something... Can't you smell it? Funny kind of smell. Different.
Yes. Bigwig, do you know what it is?
I think so. That's the smell of a road, if I'm not mistaken.
What?
They make 'em. The men do. Yes, that's one of them roads, all right. Good things to keep away from, roads are.
The bitumen was still warm from that day's sun. There were other odors, too, of oil, petrol, of exhaust fumes left behind. Hazel was at a loss. He looked for Fiver, but he wasn't there. Then he saw him, ahead, halfway under the fence, squatting, staring at the thing called a road. He ran to him.
Fiver, what are you doing?
It's this way. I know it is.
We have to go over it. Are you sure?
This is the way, Hazel. I just know, that's all.
But Bigwig says this is a man thing, and it's dangerous. Fiver! Fiver, come back!
His brother had shot forward, was partway onto that thing that smelled so strangely. Hazel slid under the fence and then stopped. Fiver had found something lying on that road, was sniffing at it. At that moment, the lights came sweeping over the rise bright as the moon. No, 2 moons, and they were rushing at Fiver, directly at him, shrieking as they attacked.
Fiver, look out!
The young idiot.
No. Please, Fred, no. Fiver.
I'm here. Over here.
Oh, you're safe. You're all right.
Sure. Whatever it was, it missed me.
Then stay where you are. I'm coming.
Well, you're mad, Hazel. You're as mad as he is.
Then we're mad too, aren't we, young Pipkin? Stand aside, Captain Bigwig, if you please. Let a rabbit get past, if you don't mind, my friend. Where Hazel goes, I'm going.
And they followed. One by one, they scrambled under the fencing wire. Even Bigwig had to come in the end. Some of them, Sergeant Silver was one who found the courage, hesitated on the road long enough to inspect the lump of flesh and fur that lay there. You couldn't tell what it was, what it once had been, but you did know that the thing with the bright, blazing eyes didn't miss every time.
It's a big place, isn't it?
It seems to be, Pipkin.
I had no idea. I used to think there was only Sandalford, but now it just goes on and on, doesn't it?
And this part of it seems to be nothing but mud. Mud underneath your feet, prickly gorse all around you. Well, it may look better in daylight.
It's peat country. Mostly swamp.
Wouldn't it be awful if this is all there is? I mean, if the rest of the world is nothing but this.
It won't be. I promise.
Of course it won't. It's high land we're making for, not a mucky old swamp like this. We're going to a good part of the world, Pipkin. The very best part, I reckon. Wait till you see it. Just you wait. You're going to love it.
And the ground did rise a little after that. Not much, but they were out of the swamp. They came to a wall built of stones, discovered a gap in it, and found themselves in a wilderness of weeds. It was a long-neglected graveyard. On the far side, beyond a row of yew trees, stood the church, most of its windows broken, its front door boarded over. These days, no more than a refuge for birds who nested in its rafters. Some of the tombstones had fallen. They lay among the high grass and were so thickly covered with moss that you'd find it almost impossible to decipher the names, the messages that had once been engraved on them. These stones had another use now. They gave shelter to beetles and other crawling things, whose entire world was the soil itself, whose universe, vast beyond comprehension, was enclosed by a slab of marble. It was here, while most of the rabbits were feeding, that Fiver had another vision. And it was a bad one.
What is it, Fiver? What do you see?
The highland, the down. It's still there, but
what?
Something between. Something is coming between us and the down. A mist. Fog. A terrible fog rising up from the ground. No, it's everywhere now. Oh, no.
What's the matter over there?
Pipkin, Dandelion, don't mention this. Not one word, understand?
Something wrong, Hazel?
It's all right, Bigwig.
Fiver saw a snake, that's all.
A snake?
Yes, a snake. Go back, everybody. It's nothing. No. Eat while you can. Make the most of it.
Let's go.
Frisk lovers. Hasn't he ever seen a snake before? Not tough enough, most of these youngsters. Scared the life out of me, he did. Saw a snake, he did. One single blasted snake. Nowhere near tough enough, if you ask me.
It's over, Fiver. The dream is gone.
Yes, it's gone. But you know what it means, don't you? Something terrible is going to happen. Hazel, we have to be careful. We must be very, very careful.
We shall, Fiver. Now stop shaking. Calm down. We'll be extra careful from now on. If this is a warning, then we'll have to take care, won't we?
That fog, Hazel, it came rolling in and blotted out everything. The high land, the open sky, everything.
I know. Pipkin, Dandelion, why don't you get yourself something to eat? Who knows when we'll get another chance like this?
I don't think I could. I don't think I'm hungry now.
Oh, neither am I. Now, isn't that strange? Up to my knees in the most delectable food, and yet it's crazy.
Fiver, these dreams of yours, where do you think they come from?
I don't know. Each time I wonder.
I think they come from Frith.
From Frith? From the Lord God Frith?
Who else could know what's going to happen next?
Yes, who else indeed?
They left the churchyard and wandered for hours, cold, muddy, and bedraggled. They were wet as well, for there'd been a passing downpour of rain. When they did get an occasional glimpse of the moon, it had moved far across the stormy sky. Then finally there was a larger break in the clouds. For a while, the dripping world was flooded with light. And not far ahead of them...
Stop! Stay still, everybody. There. Do you see him?
A rabbit? Was sitting out there on his own? He must be crazy.
He may be crazy, but he looks as though he eats well. I never saw one so fat.
Nor with fur that shines the way his does.
Oh, I know what you mean. That's a sleek, prosperous rabbit without, I'd say, a care in the world. But crazy just the same.
Quiet. He knows we're here. I'm certain he does. Watch his ears twitching. What are you going to do? Just a minute. He's looking our way.
I say, why don't you come on out? I'm quite alone, you know. Would you like me to meet you halfway? Now, what if I wait for you here? All I want to do is to make friends. Only that, no more. What if I just sit here?
I'll go across to him. No, Hazel, don't. I'm not scared of one rabbit, Fiver. Why should I be? We're not here, stranger, to make trouble.
I'm sure you're not. Come closer. Closer still. There now, I look harmless enough, don't I? The name is Cowslip.
Cowslip? My name is Hazel. I've got friends back there, Cowslip, in case this is a trap of some kind.
A trap? But how absurd. I know you have friends back there. 10, to be precise. This is our territory, you know. We do keep some kind of a watchful eye. Not much, but some. As a matter of fact, though, I'm here to bid you welcome. To be perfectly honest, I've been asked to, shall we say, make you an offer. To extend you an invitation.
Oh? What sort of invitation?
To join our warren.
That is
Now,
what...
don't interrupt me, please. But you'd be more than welcome. Our burrows are huge, and several of them are empty. They're remarkably well constructed. Our ancestors, the female ones, must have been quite dedicated and efficient.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Why not?
Most rabbits would want to fight intruders to drive us away.
Possibly. I do see what you mean. But we have burrows to spare. And you are looking for a home. Such an arrangement to me appears to be reasonable. Doesn't it to you? Oh, it's going to rain again. Well, what do you say to our proposition?
I don't really know what to say. It's kind of you, very kind.
Naturally, you'll have to talk it over with your friends. I quite understand.
Well, you see, we work together.
Cowslip, don't tell me you've forgotten already.
Cowslip, we talk things over. We decide between us what is best.
Excellent. Excellent. But how many warrens do that? Such a pity. Our warren, by the way, is behind those trees. Oh, it's getting colder, isn't it? Now, I'd better be off. If there's anything I loathe, it's getting caught in the rain. So I'll say good night for the time being.
Yes. Good night.
I'm sure we'll be meeting again. Feeling. Oh, dear. Rain.
A few drops at first, then more and more, falling faster and faster. By the time Hazel had scampered back to the others, it was teeming down. It swirled across the hills, seemed to fill the valley, blotting out everything like a fog. The rain has stopped for the time being, but already Hazel and his friends, crouched under the dripping bushes on the edge of the forest, are sodden to the skin. Close as they are, he can't see any of them clearly. It's so dark. The moon's somewhere behind the blackest of clouds, but he can smell the other rabbits. It's sharp in the air, that acrid odor of wet fur.
We must be the most miserable, stinking, bedraggled bunch of bucks that ever lived.
We are, Hazel. And the coldest.
And the coldest. That's true.
We don't have to be, do we? This almighty... we're all mad to be stuck out here in the dark. Why, Hazel, when we could be over there in that warren, nice and snug and out of the rain?
Hazel, that rabbit, what's his name?
Cowslip, you mean?
He looked harmless enough to me. Big but harmless. Did he look like a fighter to you?
As a matter of fact, he was most civil, most polite. And yet...
Why don't we accept their invitation? Holy frisk, what are we doing here? And mark my words, it's going to rain again any minute. Oh, come on, let's go.
Wait, Captain Bigwig. I can't explain it, but that cowslip, he seemed to me to be too polite.
Too polite? What's that supposed to mean?
How can a rabbit be too friendly? That's it, Silver. I just don't know. But, look, we're the invaders, the intruders. We've wandered into their territory, and what do?
They smile and tell us how very, very welcome we are. No, well, it doesn't make sense, does it?
It's wrong. The whole thing is wrong. And there was something wrong about that cowslip, too. Fiver thinks so as well.
Fiver thinks so?
What's the matter, Fiver? Got another feeling?
Well, yes, I have.
Another dream.
I don't mind. Laugh if you like. I know what I saw. Can I help it if I see things?
Now, that's enough. Leave him alone. What are you trying to do? Bring the 1,000 down on us. Now, have some sense.
It's starting to rain again. Oh, big drops, too.
Ah, what did I tell you? Well, that's enough for me.
Bigwig, where are you going?
The cowslip's warrant to get out of this rain.
Oh, don't go, Captain, please.
Who wants to be warm in a nice, comfy burrow?
Sorry, Hazel, but I think Bigwig is right.
So do I.
Me too. No sense in this, I reckon.
Oh, you see, Hazel, they're all with me.
But you're splitting the party in halves.
Not if you lot come with us. Still be together then, wouldn't we? Come on, let's run.
After that, all they could do was go where the rest of their band had gone. By the time they found the warren, there wasn't one rabbit in sight. Nor, to their amazement, was anyone guarding the burrows. They crept inside the main tunnel, went down and down towards the sound of voices, and then noticed the odor in the warren. It was not exactly fear, but there was something in the air that made the visitors feel tense and ill at ease.
Ah, Hazel. So you two have decided to join us. Good. Wonderful. This, everybody, is Hazel Ra.
Hazel, what?
Isn't he your chief? Oh, well, come and join us anyway. Move aside, you rabbit, and make room for our guests.
Well, we do have Raz, but ours hasn't been elected as yet.
We're not properly organized. There hasn't been time.
Oh, dear, then I have said the wrong thing, haven't I? Now, please, do sit down. We have turnips tonight, fresh turnips. Well, fairly fresh, shall we say? Now, you, sir. You would be...
I'm Dandelion.
He's our storyteller. He's the best storyteller in the world, Dandelion is.
Really? How charming.
Well, I'm not, you know, but I try, and this impulsive youngster, by the way, is Pipkin.
Yes, and who is that other young one, the one who looks as if he's lost? Why doesn't he settle somewhere?
Oh, Fiver, over here. Here's room.
Good. And now you must have a turnip. I'm having the time of my life. Not exactly the easiest things to eat, but if one simply keeps on nibbling...
Have you been on a raid?
A raid?
Some farmer's garden, to get the turnips.
Oh, no, indeed, no, I understand this is the custom with many warrens, but... No, we never go on raids. I'm told our people did once, long ago, but...
But then where do the turnips come from?
Tell me, Hazel, what do you think of our great burrow?
This is it. Where we are now.
Rather impressive, wouldn't you say?
Impressive? Well, it's magnificent, that ceiling. It's so high. What stops the earth from falling in?
I often think the does of the old days must have been brilliant. Quite brilliant. They dug the great burrow below a network of tree roots. You can pick out the roots if you look up. Do you see them?
And they hold the ceiling together.
Most ingenious, don't you think? Oh, excuse me. Strawberry, why aren't you eating? Dear, oh dear, how glum you look. Whatever will our guests think of you?
And they certainly were glum, Hazel thought. The feeling of nervousness was even stronger, sitting here among them. Then he noticed something else. How few little ones there were. Most warrens were overrun with kittens. Was it true, that old story? That the does stop producing babies in time of trouble? That somehow the unborn kitten is absorbed back into the mother's body, so it's as if male and female had never mated? Was that happening here? And if so, what was the trouble in this warren?
My dear Hazel, now you're not eating.
Oh yes, sir. I'm sorry. The White Death cowslip, the one that brings blindness, did that ever strike this warren? It's just that all these burrows, and such huge ones, and yet you have so few rabbits.
Really, Hazel, must we talk of plague and the White Death when we should be having fun?